I believe in South Korea, they have mandatory military service for 2 years. So all men have to join the military. It's mandatory military service. I believe it's 2 years. Let me know if I'm wrong. Yeah, it's mandatory.
It's currently 1:08 p.m. and starting at 2 p.m. a military enlistment ceremony will be taking place at this recruit training center in Nonsan, Chungcheongnam-do province. Currently at this training center, 15,000 people.
Look at their cute little taxis. Look at all the lights on top of them. Let's go. It's so cute.
People are receiving basic training for 5 weeks before they get dispatched to their respective army units. Today, 1,500 people will be joining the military, and as you can see, friends and families have come with them to bid them farewell. South Korea is one of the several countries around the world that still have military conscription. It's been 16.
Oh, you know what, guys? Let me move myself and you guys. So you guys can see the subtitles. My bad. Okay. All right.
9 years since the Korean War broke out, but the two Koreas are still technically at war, as the military conflict ended with a ceasefire, not a peace treaty. With that, all able-bodied men in the country between the ages of 18 and 35 are required to complete 18 months of national service in the Army and a bit longer for the Navy.
18 months of national service in the Army and a bit longer if they're going Navy or Air Force.
And the Air Force.
Base.
Including those that substitute the required 1.5 years or so with community service due to physical, religious, or other reasons.
Look at their cute little battle helmets. Look at their little battle helmets.
All men serving the country have to undergo a period of basic training, and Yeongmudae is one of those places where that takes place. Atmosphere here is much livelier than I thought. Feels like a festival or a picnic of some sort, with all the family members having gathered here to say goodbye to
yeah, 2 years
sons.
isn't bad. What do you guys think if we had a 2 years mandatory service? What would you guys think about that? 2 years, let's say before the age of 25, all men in the United States. I think it would open a few eyes. It could go good or bad. I wouldn't be mad. Not all men, not all citizens. So you think it should be for men and women as well? Discipline is lacking these days. They would pay us more. I think it would be great. Wow. I did not expect this. I don't think I'd have to anyway, for real. What's the point of freedom if they aren't free to make the choice? True. Some might argue you don't understand your freedom until you've had it given up temporarily, though. I didn't understand how amazing, I didn't understand how beautiful freedom in America is until after I got out of the military. And I think most people feel that way. I think if we had all men have to join the military for 2 years, let's just say 2 years, 18 to 20. Imagine a bunch of 18 to 20-year-olds that come out of the military with a TSP, with savings, with a clearance, with fitness, with discipline, with a whole bunch of stuff. And not only that, but imagine for our political leaders what that would mean and how much they would think twice before sending. People would think twice if they knew that they would be sending their own son in the military somewhere else. I feel like, I don't want to get too political, but I feel like that's not necessarily a political stance. I feel like anybody can understand that if that was your situation and you were in a position of political power and you know that your son or your daughter was going to be, in the military for 2 years, you would think twice before sending someone else's son or daughter somewhere else. I'm sure the VA would be a lot smoother. I'm sure when people went out to go do missions and come back, that they would be more well received. And I'm sure we would think twice about where we're putting our money. I think that other than North Korea, we don't currently have a nation that automatically enlists ladies and women in the military. I think North Korea is the only one. However, I do know Korea, women can volunteer. I do know that. I do know that. Rich people already did that during Vietnam. That's true. But we also gave criminals, you know, kind of a second chance as well. I think historically, if you look at previous wars and stuff, we've learned that mandatorily enlisting both men and women into the military hasn't been beneficial, simply due to the lack of continuing on their own civilization. I think we've learned that as, like, historically, if you just look back and you like read war books and different things, there were nations that did that. Like, I'm talking like old nations. There were nations that had, you know, male and female fighters that were very strong. However, they died out very quickly. So this is very interesting.
At least until now, the emotional part will be coming soon.
And I don't really think anything we said there was bad or political or anything. I think it's more of a common sense thing. Like, if we did this, just hypothetically, I think we would just think twice about where we send our people. That's all. A little bit more thoughtfulness. A little bit more love and care. That's all.
제가 머리를 오디오 가르면서 앞머리까지 왔었거든요. 맨날 넘기고 이러는데 머리 딱 밀고 나니까
I used to run my hands through my hair, but after shaving it, I don't have
맨날
any
깎아깎으라고.
hair left.
뭐 별로 마음이 그렇게 무겁진 않습니다.
Oh
근데
my God.
어머니가 그 약간 눈시울 붉히는 거 보고 약간 마음이 약간 약해지긴 했는데 35일 별거 아닌 거 잘 갔다 오겠으면 남자라면 다 가는 거잖아요.
그때 86년도 그때는
Oh wow.
머리 빡빡하고 아무 생각 없이 끌려가던 생각이 납니다. 항상 이렇게 옆에만 있는데 이제 다른 애들 보낸다니까 좀 한편으로는 좀 마음이 좀 애린 부분이 좀 없잖아 있습니다. 그래서 건강하게 군생활 잘하고
I
돌아왔으면
bet.
좋겠다는
As a parent, how do you feel?
소감보다
I have no choice. Yeah.
가야죠.
This is probably how we would
어차피
feel,
남자들
guys.
다 가는 건데 먼저 간다고 생각하고 열심히 하고 와야죠.
Good
00년생.
attitude.
그럼 몇 살?
저 만 18세요.
친구 있어요?
아 여자친구
Born in
없이
2000.
아직은 시간은 안 나요. 예, 예.
I think Singapore is
그러면
the same
이제
way.
저 모이고 이제 돌았을 때 뭐 짠 하겠죠.
아버님 혹시 아버님 입대하실 때 생각나세요?
한 25년이라는 세월이 있어가지고 저도 일찍 갔다 왔는데 어쨌든 일찍 갔다 와가지고 빨리 잘 생각하는 게 낫다고 생각해서
Oh, interesting. So it seems like you can get tasked to go anywhere between being 18 and 35. I would rather do it at 18. Look at their little berets. They're so
As the
cute.
ceremony progresses, things become calmer. Parents hug their sons, telling them that they'll do fine.
Honestly, I
but at the
bet it's
thought of
scary,
sending their
but
sons
if
off for
every
over
man
a year,
in the
there are
country
many
of Korea
parents
or
welling
South
up
Korea
in
has to do
tears.
that, I bet it's easier to do. Because it's something you all have to go through together.
입영 장정들이 입고 온 옷을 소포로 발송하게 되는데 그 소포를 받으실 때 굉장히 많이 우십니다. 그 우신 날이 언젠가 하면 다음
Their
주
berets
수요일 날 우리
different.
입영 장정들에 대해서
Look at
옷을
their
다
cute little
소포로
sleeves.
포장을 하고 발송을 하게 됩니다. 그게 빠르면 3일, 느리면 한 일주일 정도 걸리니까 다음 주 말이나 그 다음 주 초에 도착하게 됩니다.
다음 주
우시는데
초에.
안 우셔도 될 것 같습니다. 그때 되면 벌써 훈련병들 다 적응이 되어 있습니다.
감사합니다. That's all I got.
It's time to say goodbye. An announcement is coming out telling the parents and friends to move out of the venue. It's the hardest part to watch.
Unfortunately, I can't mute TTS because I think it's coming through what my mic is coming through right now. over.
So the people you see behind me are all those who have enlisted today. They'll be going through a physical exam and a health checkup in the next few days, and the official training period begins next week. So these people, 1,500 of them, will end their 5-week training on July 30th.
Soldiers engage in various training activities while here, different programs for each week. Today we got to meet some of the soldiers who are actually taking part in the training. After smearing oil-based camouflage cream on their faces, they get ready for individual combat training.
Let's go.
현재 저는 입소한 지 4주째가 되어가고 있고 저희는 오늘 각계 전투 기초 훈련을 받고 있습니다. 포복 훈련으로서 저희가 장애물을 극복하기
Let's
위해서
go.
현재 소대원들이 낮은 포복 자세를 취하고 있습니다.
Heck
힘들지
yeah.
않다고 하면
That
거짓말이겠지만
looks
전우들과
familiar.
함께
That
하기
looks
때문에
familiar. Look at
충분히
that.
극복할 수 있다고 생각하고 있습니다.
Zeroing fire exercise is practicing to align the sights on the weapon with a rifle to accurately aim at a target from a set distance.
Nice.
잡아당길 때
Oh, firing's bad. Not nice. No. Boo. Boo,
There was a
boo.
female officer at the firing range.
사실 요즘에는 여군들이
M1
많이
helmet
포복을
is
입고
wild.
각자의 위치에서 열심히 다들 임무 수행을 하고 있습니다. 그래서 뭐 여군이어서 힘든 점이나 뭐 어떤 특수성이 따로 있지는 않습니다. 우리 훈련병들 대할 때는
Their
조금
uniforms
더
are
누나
pretty
같은
squared
마음과
away.
이모 같은 마음, 예, 그런 마음으로 아직 엄마는 아니고 예 그런 마음으로
Prepare the soldiers for chemical, biological, or any nuclear weapons attacks in the case of contingencies. And just standing out here nearby the gas chamber, we're sneezing, our nose is running. And once they go into that gas chamber, they're exposed to all these nasty substances like chlorine or CS gas. That's a military version of tear gas, I believe. And there's always an ambulance standing by
Let's go,
in case
ambulance,
of an
let's
emergency. So
go, let's
military
go.
authorities here are
Light work,
assuring the
baby.
soldiers
Heck
that it's
yeah.
always safe.
This is one of the barracks in Nonsan where the trainees stay for 5 weeks.
Look how cute their fire extinguishers are. Did you guys see how cute they are? They look like little anime fire extinguishers.
This is one of the barracks
so
in
cute.
Nonsan
There's a
where
lot
the
of 'em.
trainees stay for 5 weeks.
Why do they have so
Everything
many?
is so clean, tidy, and well organized. Even their slippers are neatly queued up.
건물대를 이렇게 종류별로
Alright, let's look at
정리해놓는
this.
이유는
Bags up top, looking good, squared away. Name tag left side, looking good. Numbers facing out. Folded to the width of the cubby. Uniforms hang left. Dress uniforms hang right. Looks like we got bags up top. Okay, they got a window. This isn't bad. This isn't bad. Really
갑자기
nice.
전쟁이 났을
All of that is
때나 그런
unsecured?
상황 때
Correct, it is.
빠르게 이제 준비를 해서 나갈 수 있게 이렇게 하는 거고.
한 번만 열어서 보여주실 수 있으세요? 여자친구 사진도 있네.
Aww, you got a girlfriend.
Earlier in the day, we saw
Look
trainees
at their little military grade inside slippers.
that just enlisted
cute.
in the Army.
That's
But
cute.
for these young men, the 5-week training session ends tomorrow. They will now be dispatched to different Army units, so
Oh,
it's their
wow.
last day together.
They can have pictures.
솔직히 군대에서 힘든 훈련을 받지만 제가 힘을 내야 전우들도 힘이 납니다. 같이 이런 5주 동안 힘든 훈련 같이 버틸 수 있어서 너무 고맙고 그 자대 가서도 건강하게 다들 제대했으면 좋겠습니다.
앞으로 자주 연락하고 지내실 건가요?
네, 전화번호도 다 적어놨습니다.
Aw.
This is the cafeteria. It's the soldiers who cook for the trainees. In other words, these soldiers, or military chefs, if you will,
Wow,
are
they cook
those who
for each
actually
other.
receive training here at this very boot camp.
Interesting.
They have been dispatched here after completing the
They have
5-week
freaking
training.
watermelon and what is that, kimchi? On the right? The left?
나온 거라서 애들이 되게 행복해하고.
Looks like that spicy kimchi sauce. Rice.
What's interesting is in the Army boot camp, they don't give out spoons and chopsticks separately, but they rather put together a spoon and a fork like this to create this new tool. Now, this is to prevent them from getting
She called that a new tool. Did you hear that? She said they combined the fork and the spoon to create this new tool. She's talking about a spork. They get sporks. It's over for the sporkles. It's been around since the Dark Ages.
Lost, or to help the soldiers eat
Jeez.
faster with just one tool. So it's more
They get to
practical,
talk
I guess.
and hang out.
I'm sure there are not many South Korean men who really want to halt their studies or nascent careers for 1.5
Bass
years
background
or 2
music.
years to serve the country, especially in such a highly competitive society like South Korea with the unemployment rate rising every year. Nevertheless,
the one interesting thing about this, though, is that from the stories I've heard from people who have worked directly with the South Korean military, and this is pretty standard across the board, they actually don't get paid a lot. So whenever they did joint training or joint exercise with South Korean military, oftentimes the airmen soldiers or whoever would go to the PX, get them like drinks, candy, food, and give it to them because their pay is absolutely horrible. They can't even afford to go to the base PX. And Americans were pretty friendly. We're pretty friendly. We're kind of like excited to meet everybody. But like across the board, that's what I've heard back. I've never been to Korea. But all the stories are kind of similar. So shout out to the American military that gets little treats and stuff for the South Korean military. I think that's great. Your stories have made it all the way back to the United States to a medic who's never been there. Keep it up. You guys are wholesome as heck. Approved. Approved. Approved.
Plus, they're here. They're brave young men. And because of them, we civilians can carry on with our daily lives without having to worry about military threats coming from the north. But
That's a good way to
hopefully the
look at it.
confrontation between the two Koreas would come to an end soon so that men here in the country could enlist voluntarily like many other parts of the world.
Interesting. Korea Army Training Center. Nice. Nice.